have a few minutes with him, and just till the bailiff calls you to court, all right?
All right, thanks. Hi, baby.
Hi. How you feeling?
I feel great now. How are you?
I haven't been sleeping too well. I'm not used to sleeping without you.
Yeah, no. Well, you know, I almost wish you wouldn't come, even though I can't ask you. It's gonna get nasty in there, you know?
Yeah, well, we had a deal. I'm not here just for the good times. I'm here for the bad times. I'm here to help you fight.
Okay,
What the hell is this? I didn't authorize this. She's not allowed to have visitors. Get her out of here, unless you want to lose your job. I'm sorry,
You don't have authority to do this. Don't apologize to her. Just get her out.
You look like hell.
Thank you. I needed that.
You want false compliments? Didn't you sleep?
I slept off and on.
Well, these aren't the easiest of times. Look, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of preamble, Cruz. You're a cop. You've been on the stand before. You know what that's like. But you're going to be seeing things from a totally new perspective this time. I want to make sure you know what you're in for.
Maybe you should wait and surprise me.
Oh, you'll be in for a lot of surprises, no matter how well I prepare you.
Go ahead, prepare me.
First of all, you're going to see people that you care about and that believe in you take the stand and say things that'll sound incriminatory. That's Keith's job, to turn everything against you. By the way, Alex Nicholas is on the list of prosecution witnesses.
Doesn't surprise me. He and I have never been the best of friends.
At least he's gone on record as saying he believes in your innocence. That's more than we can say for some of the other witnesses. I wish you'd reconsider and let me argue self-defense.
Oh, we're gonna do this again, Mason? I was not defending myself.
Well, you are now, Cruz, and I think you're foolish not to use every weapon we've got available.
Mason, I did not kill the woman. Somebody else did. If I say I did, that somebody gets away with murder. No, I'm sorry, but I can't live with myself if I let that happen.
Would you rather live with the bulls than San Quentin, Cruz?
Whatever happened to truth as the best defense?
That doesn't apply when nobody believes the truth, Cruz. I want to see you walk out of here a free man.
Yeah, well, I suppose some people would consider that freedom. What can I tell you? To me, it would seem like another kind of sentence.
Like a larceny presiding. The court will come to order.
Approach the bench.
We're certainly not trying to pull anything, and I resent Mr. Timmons' inference that we are. If he can't get his witness to appear, it's his own problem.
Well, I'm going to call a brief recess. Use the time to try and locate her. If you have not found your witness by the time we reconvene, a bench warrant will be issued and we will proceed to your next witness. I am not going to tolerate any delays in this trial. Court is recessed until 10:30.
So worried about, huh? I don't think the jury bought any of that drivel. I certainly didn't impress me.
Yeah, well, thanks for trying to cheer me up. But if I had to go by what I felt listening to him, I'd say I had momentary doubts. If that's my reaction, then how are those people supposed to feel? The people who don't know Cruz the way that I do.
I mean, didn't you sort of try to nudge Cruz and Elena together?
A little bit, but that was just at first.
Did Cruz encourage you to do that or imply that he'd be grateful if you did?
No, it was my idea. I felt that Cruz needed somebody.
So to capsulize here, Cruz wouldn't admit that he needed Elena, but your feminine intuition told you that that's what he wanted.
I guess you could put it that way.
I mean, he's a young, virile man with healthy, normal desires, and it would be normal for him to attach himself to a woman who was sexy, available, a woman that wanted...
He started by leading the witness, now he's testifying for her.
I'm just trying to make it easier on her.
Objection sustained. Let's try to keep it to a tight Q&A, Mr. Timmons.
Okay, let me start again. To your knowledge, did Cruz and Elena sleep together?
No. Cruz loved Eden too much.
Loved Eden too much to sleep with another woman even after she was dead. Well, that's admirable. That's That's a role model. I could pattern myself after that, except for the fact that he ended up murdering the woman that he claims to reject.
Your Honor, objection.
Withdraw.
I want more than a withdrawal. Sort of remark is prejudicial and inflammatory. I want prosecution admonished to make no further comments.
Prosecutor's remarks will be stricken. Jury is instructed to disregard. Let's get on with it, gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. See, answer me this, okay? Were you with Cruz and Elena all the time? I mean, day and night, morning and afternoon, indoors and outdoors?
No, of
Then
course not.
They could have stolen a little moment of enchantment, couldn't they? I mean, they could have succumbed to their passions in overheated minutes, perhaps hours, while you behind your back.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I'm sure you don't.
That rotten animal.
Wasn't there one memorable occasion when you arranged for Elena and Cruz to spend the night on a deserted island?
Yes.
You can't be sure what happened there, could you?
Yes, I can. They didn't spend the whole night there.
Yes or no?
Well, I can't do that. If I don't explain, you're going to get the wrong idea.
Oh no, I think we'll get the right idea here. Didn't you go to great lengths on several occasions to make sure they spent time together?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, let me clarify for you then. Weren't there several occasions when you stayed over at your friend Pearl's house so that Cruz and Elena could spend the night together in his beach house?
Yes, that happened once.
And on another separate occasion, didn't you go over and find Elena in Cruz's shirt wearing absolutely nothing else?
Yes, I did, but that doesn't mean they slept together. Cruz would never lie to me.
I know, I can understand how you feel, but I mean, you know, maybe this is something you wouldn't confide in him. I mean, after all, he's responsible for your moral upbringing, isn't he?
Objection. The prosecution is testifying again.
Objection sustained. The jury is admonished not to give weight to the prosecutor's statement.
Cruz would never lie to me.
Yes, but there's a gigantic gulf between lying and not telling the truth, which we've seen amply demonstrated here in court today.
You all right?
I'm sorry.
There's no reason to be upset, Carmen. You loved your brother. You wanted the best for him. He was lonely. You wanted a woman in his life, and you accomplished what you set out to do. No further questions.
Miss Capwell.
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
You may step down, Miss Castillo. Okay, we're going to take a brief recess. Court will reconvene at 11:15.
Everything I said to me sounds so awful. Cruz must just want to kill me.
Oh, now, don't be silly. Cruz understands perfectly. It's okay.
I didn't think she was in any shape to be kept up there any longer than necessary. I don't think he did that much damage. Even so, that jury's probably 8-4 in favor of a conviction.
How could you possibly know that?
Call it an instinct of my own.
All right, then you've got to convince 8 minds. But who's better qualified than you? I'm so worried about you. Now, come on. Come on, I mean it. Cruz is proud of you for telling the truth. He is, even though it hurt.
You really think so?
I'm positive. See? Look at him.
Will you please describe for all of us what you saw when you entered the back room of the Laser Palace?
I saw Elena lying on the ground, bleeding.
Was that all you saw? Was anyone else in the room?
Yes. Cruz was in the room.
Yes. Yes. All right, okay, I'm gonna have to pull this out of your tooth by tooth. What was Cruz doing?
Kneeling beside the woman's body.
What was he holding in his hand?
A gun.
Well, now you see, we got it. He was kneeling above Elena's body with a gun in his hand. What'd you say to him?
I wanted to know what happened.
Oh, come on. Were those your exact words?
No.
believe I said, "My God, what have you done?"
My God, what have you done? What did you mean by that?
What do you suppose I meant by that?
Well, spell it out for us, for the less astute among us.
I believed for a brief moment that he shot her, but I was wrong.
No, you were wrong, William. Well, we'll see about that. What happened next?
He asked me to stay with her when we went to get an ambulance.
When he was on this fool's errand, she died, didn't she, in your arms?
Yes.
What did she say? Did she have any last words?
She said Cruz shot her.
Objection. Hearsay.
This is an exception to the hearsay rule. This is a dying declaration, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
Mr. Capwell, the court didn't hear you. Would you repeat that?
She said Cruz shot her, but she was lying.
Oh, she wasn't lying.
She was lying. She deliberately said that.
You'll have a chance to explain under cross-examination, Mr. Capwell. You don't have to say anything further now.
To your daughter and your future son-in-law, wouldn't you, Mr. Capwell?
Anything legal? Yes.
Father love. It's a beautiful thing.
No more questions.
Does the defense wish to cross-examine?
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down then, Mr. Capwell. Something has been brought to my attention. We'll take a short recess. The defendants and spectators may remain seated.
Is there any word from Julia yet?
Trace, pal. Listen, I tried to cut back on it. I asked him if I could. He doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah, well, please don't feel bad about this. Don't feel guilty. Why don't you go home and be with Mama?
No, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here and see this through with you, if you don't mind.
The greatest.
Eden, don't go. I'm going to buy you a few minutes with Cruz.
Well, what can you?
We'll see. I'll just occupy the guard for a minute.
Don't turn around.
Darling?
Don't turn around, okay? Things are gonna be all right. Mason's gonna find something to clear you. How are you? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay, but you're not. I can tell. Cruz, don't get discouraged. You can't give up now. Cruz,
I said I'm all right, Eden.
would you look at me?
You better move back before the DA thinks you're trying to break me out of here.
Look at me. None of this counts for anything. Remember that.
The hell it doesn't.
I mean it. You didn't kill Elena, so the more they find out, the more it goes in your favor. Besides, I'm not going to let anything happen to you.
I don't think you're going to have that much to say about it.
Oh, well, now that's where you're wrong. If I have to scream bloody murder from every rooftop, I will.
I know. I know.
Listen to me. You just have to get through this today. 2 hours at the most.
Just sit here and let this happen, is that
Yes.
it?
Don't let him drive you crazy. He wants you to lose control.
Yeah, well, he may just get his wish.
Cruz, no. The only thing he has is the fact that you were there. And the fact that Elena is blaming you. The rest is hypothetical. Don't let it be true. Don't let him get to you.
Eden, he's taken me away from you. Now, what's left?
What is the recess over?
Ready to go back into the blender, Cruz?
Sure.
Mason says things are going to turn around, Cruz.
Yeah, great. That's good.
Cruz, have faith. In me, if nothing else.
Get her seated near you, Jeffrey, before Keith has us all cited for contempt.
Hey, look, I wouldn't worry. He seems to be holding up pretty well, considering.
Is that what you thought, too?
You okay?
How's the little woman? Goodbye, Victoria, the next witness.
Said she'd be here.
All rise.
I hate to have to issue an warrant.
Court is now in session.
Defense counsel's wife.
10-minute recess. The last one I intend to grant in this trial.
Put out an APB for your wayward women. No. Excuse me, no fraternizing with the defendant. What, you got amnesia or something? Have you forgotten your orders?
Cruz, take it easy, man.
Many years since high school, exactly the same time you've known him.
You knew him a little bit better than I, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a relationship, yes.
Which ended when the bright lights drew you to Hollywood. That's sort of the way you tell it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way it happened.
So, a little over a year ago when you came to Santa Barbara, you saw that he was in love with someone else, right?
He seemed to be, yes.
I beg your pardon.
He was, and I was very happy for Cruz and for Eden.
Was happy. What form did your relationship take to Cruz then?
We were friends.
Had your feelings changed?
My feelings were that we were friends.
But you wanted it to be more, didn't you?
Watch him. What's he trying to do?
No!
Well, I have here statements of two employees of the Orient Express saying that you and Eden Capel argued publicly more than once. She even gave instructions to have you barred from the premises.
Objection! Hearsay. This line of questioning is irrelevant.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm trying to show that the witness's experience offers a parallel. I believe that the defendant's behavior towards Victoria Capel will shed light on his actions towards the deceased.
All right, Mr. Timmons. I'll reserve my ruling until I see where you're going with this. State your question, please.
Isn't it true, Mrs. Capwell, that the intense rivalry between you and Eden Capwell forced Cruz Castillo to ask you to leave town?
It was an awkward situation.
Awkward?
Awkward situation, yes.
In an awkward situation? They separated because of it. And he stopped at virtually nothing to get you out of the way, the same way he did with Elena Nicholas. Isn't that true?
Overruled.
Look, I was no threat to Cruz at all. To either one of them.
Well, let's go back to those long days and nights when a storm forced you and Cruz Castillo to land on one of the Channel Islands and take shelter in a lighthouse. What happened then? You were alone, desperate. You cost him the love of his life. Spit it out. He raped you, didn't he?
Objection! No! No, he didn't.
No! Ladies and gentlemen, I have had it. Given the inflammatory tone of questioning, I don't wonder at the disruption. But if it occurs again, I shall clear the courtroom.
Your Honor, I move that Mrs. Capwell's testimony be stricken from the record as having no bearing on this case. And secondly, that Mr. Timmons be prohibited from casting further aspersions on the witness's character and intimate associations.
Absolutely, Counselor. The state is directed to accord this witness and all witnesses with a proper and seemly respect, and to approach all personal matters of a sensitive nature with decency and restraint.
Well, I apologize to the court and Mrs. Capwell.
However, Mrs. Wainwright, that's about as far as I can go. There does appear to be a rough parallel here, and thus Mrs. Capwell's testimony has as much bearing as any character witness defense intends to call.
Thanks for trying.
Mrs. Capwell, when you can continue, I would ask that you answer that last question.
Mrs. Capwell, did you, have forcible sexual relations with Cruz Castillo?
That isn't what you asked me before.
Isn't it?
Cruz was hurt very bad.
Yes and no. Answer the question. Remember, you're under oath.
It wasn't like you said. I was the one that...
You were the one who what?
I was the one that forced him.
Stop it!
Take your seat, Mr. Capwell.
Are you asking me to believe that Cruz Castillo, who has thwarted the attempts of many armed felons to attack them, was forced into submission by you? Isn't it more likely, Mrs. Capwell, that you're trying to protect your husband's client?
Objection!
No further
Sustain. Strike that from the record.
Mrs. Capwell, was the defendant ever violent to you?
Never.
Have you ever feared for your life?
No.
Or your safety in all the time that you've known the defendant?
No, of course not, no.
Mrs. Capwell, I know you to be a happily married woman with a baby and a career of your own. And I would regret to think that anything in these proceedings could be construed to put your character or your integrity in doubt. Is there anything that you'd like to add to clarify to the previous testimony?
I love my husband and my child very much. And I do not believe that Cruz had ever hurt anybody.
Thank you.
Such mountains. You went with him.
Yes.
Did you find it strange?
No. I don't find grief strange. I don't find wanting to say goodbye to someone you've loved strange.
Is that why you went back to say goodbye?
We were told that Eden was dead, but there was no body. It didn't seem finished to us.
But when you say goodbye in that sense, aren't you generally making room to say hello to somebody else?
Objection. The state cannot establish a non-existent affair by means of a hypothetical question. The prosecution is asking the witness to speculate.
Sustained.
Cruz was not seeing anyone when we were in Utah. I would have known.
Would you have known if he had deep, private feelings for someone that he wanted to conceal from the dear, supposedly departed's family? I think not.
He didn't.
Miss Capwell, are you aware of a letter found in the deceased person's possession that the defendant said he wrote to your sister after you came back from Utah?
Yes, I read about it in the papers. You seem to have told anyone who would stand around long enough to listen.
Isn't it true that you both thought that Eden was dead at that time?
Yes.
You think that's normal, writing letters to dead people?
Are you asking me to explain normal behavior to you?
Both witness and the prosecution are advised that sarcasm has no place in this courtroom.
I think it must have been another way to reaffirm his commitment to Eden.
By writing a letter to someone unnamed and giving it to another woman?
How much more of this are we going to have to take? The witness has obviously not seen the document in question and is incapable of drawing the conclusions that the counsel is trying to shove down her throat.
And how much more high-handed horse manure are we going to allow to keep this court from hearing the truth?
You can't have it both ways, Mr. Timmons. That the defendant's love for his fiancée was his motive, and that the defendant's imaginary romance with the deceased was also his motive.
Oh, I think Madam Co-Counsel can understand conflicting passions of this kind. Herself being the mother of an illegitimate child.
Touche.
Go ahead, you take a swing at me, Timmons.
I want both of you in my chambers now.
Hey, don't be. You made a fool of him.
Didn't take much.
I'm sorry, Cruz.
I'm fine. No problem, okay?
Dear God, please don't let this break him. If only you'll see him through this, I swear to you. I know they say you shouldn't bargain with God, but I would rather that he should walk free than I should walk at all. That's my prayer to you.
Baby, can you ever forgive me for this? You should have someone beside you every minute for the rest of your life, telling you how precious you are. But I won't be that man. Even though I'm never gonna stop holding you in my heart.
Coach you on defendant etiquette. I mean, that stony stare I'm used to, but I think the jury's finding a little ho-hum. Why don't you cry, you know? Smile, weep, something to draw attention, but the right kind of attention.
You're gonna get more of my attention than you know what to do with.
Fine, I look forward to it. 30 years to life. If you're lucky.
Excuse me.
Where's Maeve?
He took the rest of the day off, and if you call it quits, we can all go home.
Fine, I'll go back to my knitting.
Klein, you just keep your sorry butt away from my client.
You should, he's desperate.
All rise.
I regret that this short delay was required to restore decorum to these proceedings. Mr. Timmons, is the state ready to rest its case?
Not quite, Your Honor. I would like to recall a witness.
Is that witness in the courtroom at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would like to recall Eden Capwell to the stand. Had you ever seen it before?
Yes, I had seen it before.
Well, he says he'd written you a whole wheelbarrow full, but he burned the rest of them. How come?
I never asked. I assumed since I came back that there wasn't much need for them.
Why would there be any need for him if he didn't come back? He wrote them to you.
I think it's something that, if you don't understand it, it can't be explained.
No, I guess not. Would you mind reading that letter for me?
Objection.
Your Honor, wouldn't it be nice for the jury to know what we're talking about here?
Overruled.
Darling, it has not been so long since I last saw you, but I keep going over our goodbyes in my mind, trying to remember every word we said, trying to read what was in your face. Was there some fear or some sadness that I didn't see? Every minute the thought gnaws at me that I might somehow have failed to make you as perfectly happy as you deserve. I know that if I did, you will forgive me. I know, too, that I will be with you again, and I tell you, the time between now and then seems to me impossible to fill or to bear. I am blessed to have, or to see signs of you everywhere around me, not just your picture and the things you gave me. Whenever I think of the eagle in the Wasatch Mountains, I think of you. Your spirit and your beauty and your grace. I love you, Cruz.
You still think it's written to you? Your spirit, your beauty, and your grace. It's about you?
I believe that's the way he sees me. It's the way I see him.
But you were supposed dead, and he says here, I know that I will be with you again. Now, does that make sense to you?
Objection.
Your Honor, this is cruel, and he is badgering the witness.
I have to overrule.
I think it's very clear what he meant.
Well, those are lovely tears, but are they tears of love or are they tears of guilt?
You know, you're a very sick and disgusting man. Do you think anybody really cares what you think?
You want to get down and dirty? Okay, let's get down and dirty here. You know what you saw through your lover's window that night, and he gave you the line that you
Your
always
Honor.
demanded you were his one and only, but you weren't. And he made a lie the truth by killing your rival.
That's the same.